I'm live. Yes, I'm live. Yes. And I'm in the laundry room right now. Just came back from dropping Mateus off at school. And I thought I'd come and give you a little bit of the 411 and the craziness that is unleashing. Now, if you have looked at my fall preview, I've told you what was going to be unfolding over the next several months. And it has kicked off. It has kicked off big time. We have three yods in the sky right now, and they all include Neptune, Saturn, Mars, and Venus. I mean, they're pretty radical. I mean, these yods that are in the sky, and I don't know. I'm gonna just be one of those people and said, I fucking told you guys so. But anyways, it just sometimes I get a lot of people sending me stuff and saying, well, look at what they're saying. I'm saying, yeah, it's the same thing I fucking said, okay? So, anyways, it's good to know that other people are seeing the same thing um, with everything that is unfolding at this time. And we have a lot that is coming forth for us. We just saw. Oh my God. Okay. I got to tell a story. Sit back. I got to tell a story. One of the stories is what my dad said one time. And this is way back. I don't know. Whenever the law came in for seat belts. And then I can remember my dad being so angry about seat belts. And, you'd say, well, seat belts save life. Why would he be upset? And he basically said that is the first step of government overtake. And I thought, well, what does he mean? He goes, yeah, it's good to wear seat belts and the safety and everything else, right? But he said, when the government starts telling you what you can and cannot do, not only in a car that you own, but in your house and anywhere, right? When they start implementing and telling you what you can and cannot do, he goes, that's government overreach. And to this day, I've never forgotten what him saying that. And I wasn't that old. Um, it must have been in my, I don't know, early teens or something with seatbelt laws coming in. Then you started saying, in this province, you have to wear a seatbelt and things like that, right? So the government overreach started a long time ago. And with the government telling us what to do. And we've seen it over and over and over again to even what has happened in the last few years. And totalitarianism, I said the word, doesn't just happen overnight. It happens slowly and surely. And it even happened with diversity and things that were starting to come into the workplace back in 2015. And we started to we saw that within the astrology. We saw a lot of where, especially where Pluto was in Capricorn and the energies coming in with Capricorn, where the governments knew that a lot of things that they were doing were slipping out of their hands, so they had to bring something in to sort of have people focus on something else, to where it is today, and where humanity is today, and hence Pluto's in Aquarius. And with Pluto being in Aquarius, it comes into that humanitarian part. Now, when you think of humanitarian, when you think of that, you think, oh, well, it's a good thing. And yes, it is to be kind to one another, humanity coming together. But it's also where Pluto, when he comes in, brings in the undercurrent of the world and brings in what you don't particularly um, like about humanity. And one of the things is that, I mean, what has just happened, I believe, in Chicago with that homeless man who happened to be he was black, stabbing a woman sitting on the subway, right? And I mean, when you look at it, I mean, it didn't look graphic or anything, but it was interesting how everybody sort of turned away. I mean, there's been studies on that and how people, when something like that happens, a lot of people do. They don't, it usually just takes one person to start directing everybody to tell them what they should be doing. But things like that started to happen, and where the pendulum really started to swing from where a certain race like whites couldn't be racist or prejudiced because everything in the world is all their fault, and it took to where, we have the power because we can't be racist because we've been we've been having prejudice upon us. And we're seeing that. We're seeing this pendulum just go and swing all over the place, right? And how things and energies have come in and laws have come in to allow for separation, to allow for things to to push people to a point. Now we're seeing what's happening in Nepal, the overreach, where young people are rising up. I mean, you took away their social media, you took away everything, and the government said, well, you can't do this anymore. You can't look at this anymore. And for a lot of people that are there, and it is under communist rule, there's three communist parties that run. And people said no more. Like, no, we're not doing this. They've burned down what is equivalent to if they burnt down our parliament, went to Ottawa and burnt down all of parliament. And they've burnt that down. And people are fed up. I just posted a Bansky, and if you don't know who Bansky is, he is an artist. He's a graffiti artist, very famous, very well known around the world. He does a lot of art shows and that. And he started off with doing very controversial art, art form on walls and that graffiti art forms. He just did one that is really taking storm in London, and it's on this particular area in London where all of the lawyers and the I think it's called Judiciary Row, if I'm not, it's something like that. But where lawyers and that go by, and it shows a lawyer, with the wig and everything, beating up a person, and it looks like I don't know, just beating up a person. So it looks like judiciary men who are supposed to be there for the law are taking law into their own hands and saying this is what we want to implement as law. And over again, we're seeing that in Canada, we're seeing that in many other places around the world. And this is where, when I see the three yods in the sky, and three yods, I mean, I think I got two yods in my chart, means change. There is something diversive that's coming around the corner. And especially since we are in eclipse season and we're in between eclipses from a lunar to a solar eclipse, that something crazy is going to happen. And you have even Uranus in Gemini, and Uranus in Gemini, where being retrograde, where he is right now, is a point where the bombing of the bombing in Hawaii happened with the Japanese bombing, and it also is where Hiroshima and things happened as well. So we have this activation that's going on. Hence, we just saw drones fly into Poland, and things going on in Poland, and so that basically activated war. It was a war activation. Um, and we're seeing this. So we're coming into this. Now, when you see the yods are fingers of gods. This is fated. Whether we like it or not, everything that has been going on and everything that controversial that's happening in the world is very fated. And people who have been put into place, whether it's Trump, whether it's Carney, whether it's Macron or whomever, they've been put into place to do this activation. You can love them, you can leave them, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is how I see it, and this is how I'm looking at it through astrology. All of this activation that's happening is an activation to awaken, to get us to start to see where is that overreach, what is going on, because you cannot go around with blinders on. Right? If you continue to go on with blinders on, you are going to run into pulls. You're going to injure yourself. There's going to be worse things that are going to happen. And with that activation is getting people to rise up. It's getting people to witness truth. And when you start to witness truth and when you start to see truth that is going on, then it is like this awakening that's going on. And a lot of people are saying, no, I don't want to look at this. I don't want to see this. Well, you're going to see it when you in many other places in your life, right? You're going to see these activations happen in many other areas, whether that's your shopping, whether it's going for filling up your vehicle. I mean, right now we have carnies in Alberta right now, and woohoo! And we saw gas drop. It's like all of a sudden gas prices drop. Like I don't know what that is because it was like 137, now it's 121 or 120 at different gas. It's just hilarious. But we are seeing these things start to unfold for us. And in this unfolding, that means, yeah, there is going to be a call up. Hence, I've even heard it on the news where they've mentioned the draft, and I've talked about the draft for years and the borders and everything else. And sometimes when I do get these thoughts and these feelings, some I just there is no timeline or there's no sense of saying it's happening on this date, blah blah blah, in this year, but I just know it's there. It's there. And so an activation is happening. An awakening is happening. And in this awakening, also, we are having so many other astrological or UFOs, or even um, that is it a comet? Is it extraterrestrials coming in? The 3-1 Atlas coming in. It's and just where the directory is going and how it's coming in. So we're having these energy fields that are coming in. That's what I'm being shown. That is coming in to awaken us, coming in to get us to stand up, coming in to get us to look at our own lives and how we are creating within our own lives. How are we allowing ourselves to move more within the flow of the divine? Or are you moving into the flow of the unrest? The unrest is there, and we know the unrest is there. The thing is that it's not for you to go into the unrest and get yourself all in a tizzy. It is where you need to go in and start looking at, where can I come in with the flow? What are the activations that are happening within my life at this time, so I can move with more grace and ease within my own life? And that's especially with the moon in Virgo, right? It is not asking you to be the just and the pious and look at me and I'm so great, and sometimes, yeah, that feels great on the ego, and getting that pat on the back. I know, I love it too. But it's also to look at, okay, where can I activate to become more in alignment with my God? Where can I come into a place where I'm doing my meditations, I'm doing my prayers, I'm setting up for my rituals, I'm allowing for that flow to come in. I'm taking that ease and time, whether it's 15 minutes with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, that I'm able to just sort of breathe into my day, call in Archangel Michael. He's here. He's very active. And when I start to feel more of that activation of the angels, like actually here, is like, holy, we're heading into something, because they're here for protection, they're here for guidance, and I feel like they're more available than ever before, and we really have to start calling them in with everything. And I do a lot of work with Mary Magdalene as well. I call her in throughout my day to guide me through my day, and bring her holy presence to me, because she's another one who's gone through so much in her own life of betrayal, of a woman who actually spoke when she wasn't supposed to speak, a woman who had could you say, the ear of God, if you want to call Jesus God, but had that honor or that pleasure because of his love for her and his trust for her. And in that activation of having that trust and love, not only for yourself. Oh my God, my husband found me. And look at, I got my breakfast. that love and activation for your own self, to know that in a time of diversity, in a time of craziness, we need to step into our power, and honor our power, and know that you are powerful, and know that you, in amongst this, what is going on, because through it peace will come forward, right? I don't see an atomic explosion at this time or anything like that, just saying. But I do see a lot of tumbling when it comes to moving certain people out of place, because they're not the ones to be in place. That could be with the falling of, I mean, he just put another prime minister in in France. France runs on a sort of a two, it's supposed to be a balance where you got the prime minister and you got a president kind of thing. Um, so a balance is, rebalancing is happening as well. So many are coming in, many will get overthrown, you know, for newness to come in, or new alignment coming in. I don't think the people of Nepal know exactly what their next step is, but they know what they don't want, right? And that's the same thing in Indonesia that they're finding, and in many of these other countries. And you're not going to see a lot of that on the news, but it's going to be, even though you don't see it, you're going to feel it. There's that frequency, there's that electricity that's in the air. So you know that things are changing. You know there's an activation that's happening. And it's up to you to take the reins of your own life and bring in the spirituality into your own life, in all that you do, and all that you say, and all that you be. You might call me crazy. You might say, oh my God, she's just, I don't know, a crazy spiritual freak, or whatever you want to call me. I don't give a fuck. But this is where activation is happening. This is a call ever than ever before for people to really start bringing in the divine in everything they do. And that's going to lead you so that you are able to create the abundance, to create the joy, the happiness in amongst diversity, in amongst war. And does that mean that it's going to be easy peasy? No, it's not going to be easy peasy. You'll be tested. We'll all be tested. The more you stand in your light, the more you are challenged. That's why a lot of people would rather stay in their bubble. But staying in their bubble means when their bubble gets popped, it's not a fun thing. The more you stand in your light and the more you are prepared, the stronger you are, because you will be challenged. You will be challenged because the darkness doesn't want to stay, doesn't want the light to shine, doesn't want you to shine. And your voice has to be that activation for the person at the back row to hear you, to let them know that it's okay for them to shine their light. It's okay to be that person who says, you know what? I don't give a shit if you're black, white, yellow, green, gold, whatever you are. We all have rights. We all have a place where we have to stand up. So on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. If you are, I have 8 spots that I'm opening up for people to come in. If you want to work with your psychic abilities, if you want to do one-on-one with me and create more of a stronger foundation with your own spirituality. If you don't want to work with me one-on-one, don't want to work with me, that's fine. Um, there's also where I do have the fall series for September, October, November. I have a group that I've set up, and it's a funny group because when I go to sleep at night, all of a sudden, all these invites go out to people. I don't know how they're going out to people, but I have to go and uninvite them because they weren't invited into the group. Weird. I've changed passwords and everything else. It's only with that group. It's just, and I feel like it's like almost where it's doesn't want me to be doing the work. Like it doesn't want me to be doing the group. Anyways, I have the fall series group if you're wanting to, or if you want to step into the Crone Wisdom group with me, the 8-week program. We've already started on Monday, but you can still join. If you're wanting information on that, wanting to know the cost and everything else, get a hold of me and we can set something up. So I want you guys to have a great, glorious day. Stand in your light, stand in the blessings, because you know you're beautiful and you have a lot to offer. So, have a fabulous day, and we will talk to you all soon. I'm going to eat my breakfast. That's what I'm going to do. Bye bye.